Hi, everybody. I'm Tommy Sims. I'm the director of Reanimation of the Imagination. It's a modern story that continues the Frankenstein legacy. I actually play you could say were inspired by the original Frankenstein as well as young Frankenstein. So the way that Gene Wilder was the grandson of the original Frankenstein, I kind of sort of play his grandson and continue the family legacy, but instead of bringing a person to life, I create a little stop motion armature monster and try to bring that to life, try and reanimate the family legacy because it's been quiet for some time now.
Oh, wonderful. I know you mostly as an animator. I
Yeah.
have not seen you do live action before. Is this the first time doing something like that for you?
It's not. I've done a few characters in some music videos, but this was the first time that I kind of played one of the leading roles. When I started college, I got out of high school fresh out of the theater program, so I was into acting and everything there. And then I came across animation, which I realized I can be the director as well as the actor and just kind of control everything with that. And a lot of things that I learned through acting, I can put towards the animation and really go for it there. So I kind of get the chance to play everybody here. So I did animate the monster in this as well. So it's kind of creator versus creation, and it's all me.
So have you mentioned you act in this? Have you acted in projects you've made before, or is this your first time acting?
This was the first time that I've acted on screen in my own project. I've done a few things since with a few additional music videos through the local band Fuzzysurf. But yeah, this was I also wrote this one too, so it was a lot of fun getting a chance to be behind the script and directing myself.
Now, is the classic horror monsters of Frankenstein and Werewolf, is that a particular interest of yours?
It's been a favorite since I was a kid, and a lot of the projects that you see sitting on the shelf. I'm actually in the basement right now where we filmed it. It's my apartment. But funny side story was when we were filming this, Jamie, who plays Jagor, this was his apartment, and he actually moved out, and there was a tenant in between the two of us, and I got to move in a year later, and we actually finished shooting some stuff down here as soon as I moved in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's crazy how it worked out that way. But anyways, the stuff that was over on the shelves, all of those projects that you see are actually old Frankenstein projects of mine that I've made throughout the years. On the bulletin board, you can even see some pictures of me dressed up as Frankenstein as a little kid too. So yeah, he's just been a favorite of mine for years. And actually, I think the thing that really got me into him when I was a little kid was my favorite color was green, and he was a green person. So that's what got me hooked. And over the years, I had a better understanding of him. And I think a lot of people can relate to him because he's misunderstood. He's not really a monster at all. And he just wants to be loved.
Yeah. With stop motion takes an incredible long time to do that process.
Yeah.
And you gave me a bit of indication that it might have been a long time shooting this with you, because you're talking about changing roommates and all that.
Yeah.
How long did this film take to make?
Looking at the dates, it surprisingly took 21 months and 21 days. So we started filming in the late fall of 2017, and we knocked out all the live action stuff first and had kind of a placeholder for the monster because I didn't have him fully built at the time. And then some of the shots, we had some of them him built, so we snuck that in there. But after that, I did all the animating down here on the set over the winter, and that winter we had the polar vortex hit here, so it was like -15 outside, and in the basement I was probably dealing with maybe like 2 degrees. So I had some space heaters down here, and it's an experience that I never imagined that I would go through, but we we got through it. So having to manipulate the little character with like frozen fingers
Well,
was interesting.
Yeah, I imagine that the cold affects the materials you're working with too.
It does, and so does the heat, because I've even animated a few things down here in the summer as well, and I think I'd prefer animating in the spring, in the fall, in a room that's not all that temperature controlled. But the monster, I actually have him with me here. He's the size that you see in the film. So he doesn't have hands right now because his hands were all raw clay. His feet were raw clay too. We have some wires sticking out of the backside here so we can tie him down and make him stand up. Sometimes we would lean him up against some things if you only saw from like his waist up to make sure that he doesn't fall over. And then his mouth, you can just kind of pop him off here, and I got magnets on the back to replace them. We've got numerous mouth shapes that we can have him do. There's holes in his eyeballs that I can stick a needle in to move it around. And then his eyebrows were raw clay, so I can move those around too.
So the mouth is put in with just, it can attach with just a magnet. That's interesting.
Yeah, so he's made out of Sculpey 3 clay, which is an oven baked clay. So his head, the mouth, his neck as well are all baked. So they're hard like plastic. And I can just pop these in and out without any worries of getting fingerprints or smushing his head or anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then his hands and feet were just raw clay, so I could easily move those around as I needed. And the feet I kept raw because it helps make them stick to the set as well, in addition to the wire sticking out back here. So any support for tie downs really helped us out a lot.
I've noticed the head looks a bit wobbly. Is that for the animation purposes, or?
I think it's a little wobbly because over time from moving him around so much.
Oh, okay.
He's not
I didn't know
stable.
if you wanted it very loose for animation purposes or not.
No, I wanted it as secure as possible. But with him, there's one shot you'll see in the film where his head kind of squishes down and pops back up. I think I have some here. I've got a bag here of replaceable heads that are also baked too. So I actually knew what the sculpt would look like. And it's like 3 or 4 different heads that squishes down and pops back up. And I just pop those on and off. And that's actually the first time I've experimented with something like that, because every other stop motion that I've done with characters of the size, their head was actually baked onto the armature itself. So it didn't move and it was really secure. But,
so can I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
You talked about how long it took to shoot. How long did it take to plan this? Because you have to build everything. You have to build the materials. You have to design the creature. You have to think of all that stuff in advance. So how long have you actually, from the start of the idea, did it take you to finish it?
From the idea to start filming, I think it was actually just a few months.
Okay.
So we, with our group of people at Out of Toon Studios, we sat down, and at the time we were doing online claymation courses for kids, and we wanted to do something Halloween related because it was coming up. So I think it was like maybe early September that we talked about this. And initially it was just going to be a short little, I guess you could say, commercial that kind of showcased everything that we knew how to do with stop motion, 2D animation, 3D effects and everything. And we're like, okay, let's just do a quick little Frankenstein commercial for the kids. And it just kind of snowballed into this monster of an idea. And we're like, you know what? Let's just make this an entire short film and just give it our all. And it turned out into this pretty cool toony terror of a film.
Can I ask you a question? Because a good portion of the film is in black and white, and it switches the color. And I saw the monster's green.
Yeah.
I don't call him Frankenstein because Frankenstein is the person,
right?
Monster is the monster. But in the black and white, he's a pale grayish. Did you create a different monster for that sequence? Or? I
didn't. It's actually the same one. So what I did with the Sculpey clay, it's all individual colored, and we did some tests beforehand, and I mixed a lot of clay to see what would look best on the black and white, and we came across this green that looked like the milky grayish, and it looked pretty good. It looked a little dead, which is what it was supposed to do, and I didn't want it to make it look like our flesh tones, because there were the shots where you see him going from black and white to color. And I think if he were a different color, it would look a little different with the different sculpts that we would have to pop in. So with this, we could just have him fade into color and then spread the color throughout the rest of the film.
I was just wondering also if you might have adjust the color temperature in black and white to get it more a grayish tone too.
Yeah, there were quite a few adjustments, and a lot of that was from Joe Ludwig, who did the cinematography as well as the editing on our film here.
So what are you working on next?
I've got a few music videos on the line. I've been working with Fuzzysurf lately, doing music videos for them, and I've got a few films running through the festivals right now, so keeping pretty busy.
How's this film doing in the festival circuit?
This one? This was actually the first one. You're
premiering at our festival?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
This is the premiere of the film. It was actually finished before the pandemic, but because last year everything was kind of put on hold, it kind of we're waiting to hear back from some other festivals still too with this one. But this is the first one that is kind of picked up after the pandemic, and hopefully we can get it rolling.
Well, thank you for sending that our way.
Yeah.
I've been aware of your work for a while because I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen your drawings and your illustrations and everything. I know you're a big Popeye fan and everything.
Yes.
And all that. So I've seen.
I believe I think I even have a spinach can hiding over on the shelf if you look for that in the film too. So
so I've been aware of your work for a while, and thank you for sending us your film.
Yeah, my pleasure.